drive with care, drive with consideration for fellow road users.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness urging responsible use of the nation's roads. We here at the GIS endorse this call as far too many of our people have died, been injured or otherwise impacted by road crashes. Since the start of the year, north of 218 persons have lost their lives from road crashes, a serious cause for concern. Let's all play our part and make road safety a priority. Hello and thanks for joining us on another edition of Jamaica Magazine.
All the people them with a Zig V, hold up your hand. Zig V in the Caribbean territory, but we now want that virus take set pan we. So make sure send us stagnant water inside and mash up all mosquito breed inside. More hole in the tin them where you dash way and change the water in your vase every day. No litter, dispose of your garbage proper. You know them the thing that we turn drain blacker. Tour your community and tour your yard for suppress mosquito. We have figure hard dash we all tire turn over drum pan for prevention is the greatest weapon. And special shout out to pregnant ladies. Protect yourselves and protect your babies. Draw for your zapper and your mosquito spray. If we do all that we can to keep them away. For we know was in vain.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Monday, July 25. Government has received a $100 million loan from the Inter-American Development Bank IDB to increase access to financing for firms and individuals and to improve the regulation and supervision of the country's financial system.
Representing a policy-based loan approved by the IDB board on the basis of Jamaica having successfully completed a number of actions geared towards effecting reform of the country's financial sector.
The Financial System Reform Support Program seeks to promote private investment and reduce the cost and perceived level of difficulty for doing business in Jamaica.
The structure of the program consists of 4 components. The first is macroeconomic stability. The second is strengthening financial sector stability. The third is enhancing financial inclusion of firms and individuals. And the fourth is improving the financial legal framework.
The money is to be disbursed in about a week's time, allowing more citizens to have access to the financial sector. Ground has been broken on a project that's expected to reduce high levels of non-revenue water in some areas of St. Elizabeth while providing improved service to residents. The Hounslow to Newell Transmission Main Replacement Project represents Phase 2A of the larger Hounslow Water Supply Upgrading Project. The work, which includes the replacement of approximately 2 kilometers of pipeline, will be done by Surrey Paving and Aggregates Limited at a cost of $60.5 million. It should be completed within 9 months and will benefit approximately 1,000 residents in the communities of Newell, Big Woods, Bethany and their environs. Water Minister Dr. Horace Chang says it's just one of many water improvement projects planned for St. Elizabeth.
We intend to spend a significant amount of money in St. Elizabeth because we know that we'll get a return in terms of the response of the producers, and once we get it right, the householders as well will take their legal water. We have earmarked near $2 billion. This year we intend to start at least $1 billion of that in terms of potable water.
The Ministry of Health has started an online reporting system to help track incidents of Zika and other diseases among the Jamaican population. The ministry says this system recognizes that not all persons see a medical doctor when they are ill, which would limit the data available to determine the impact of a particular disease on the population. The surveillance self-reporting survey should therefore help the ministry track diseases more effectively and in real time. Anyone with access to the internet can enter information on recently experienced medical complaints or symptoms, which may be associated with a disease that is of importance to the national surveillance system. The document is confidential and people's identity are protected, but as a precaution, the Health Ministry says it will validate and cross-check the findings of the online survey with reports from the routine and ongoing Sentinel surveillance system. To access the survey, go to the Ministry of Health's website and click on Zika Frequently Asked Questions in the Public Education Resources section. Once you have clicked on the Zika frequently asked question, scroll down the page and go to the surveillance self-reporting survey heading and click the link. This year's staging of Grand Gala is to focus on the youth, with approximately 800 performers booked to depict the theme Youth Are Rising. The Independence Grand Gala will, as usual, be held at the National Stadium on August 6. Culture Minister Olivia Green says the event will capture the color, spirit, attitudes and language of the youth in a way that distinguishes and contrasts with the older generation.
And when we say that, it doesn't mean that it's not catering to all age groups, but we are going to be going into the world of youth and exploring their experiences, because the youth of today will be the older ones tomorrow. And we want to make sure that we set the stage for them, and we also want to make sure that we understand them, and we can relate to the world of young people.
The Culture Minister was speaking at a JIS think tank on July 22. She said the theme would be expressed through music, mass dance scenarios, comedy and stories, which will be enhanced by lighting, special effects and pyrotechnics. The show will have a mixture of secular, gospel and vintage music and will involve artists such as Romain Virgo, Nesbeth and Kevin Downswell. In the meantime, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, has secured $5 million to promote street dances across the island during the independence celebrations. The money is a special allocation from the Tourism Enhancement Fund. According to the Culture Minister, street dances are an integral part of the Independence Festival culture of the island, and therefore it is important that this is given special attention. Meanwhile, JCDC's Executive Director, Dr. Delroy Gordon, says bandwagons will be traversing the parishes, putting on shows at least 3 times per day.
The festival bandwagon is like a merry-go-round, a mobile merry-go-round, and this goes through all the parishes. So we have 4 bandwagons that will be going simultaneously in the regions, covering a parish per day.
At the end of each day, he says a show will be held and a street dance hosted. The theme for Independence is Let's Get Together and Feel All Right. And finally, the Taxpayer Registration Card Center located in the Kingston Mall downtown reopened for business today following a 1-week closure. This resumption of services means that taxpayers can now conduct their usual TRN transactions at that location. The office was temporarily closed as a result of a tragic incident, which resulted in the lives of 2 persons, which took place at the site on Friday, July 15. During the week-long closure, Tax Administration Jamaica says steps were taken to assess the resulting damage, undertake cleanup activities, and improve the security arrangements. Counseling continues to be provided for staff. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Tamar McHale. Thank you for watching.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness played host to his Trinidadian counterpart for most of last week, out of which successful bilateral talks were had. Get the details in Jamaica House Weekly next.
Immigration and trade top successful talks between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. Government commits to business development to increase economic growth, and Prime Minister urges caution on the nation's roads. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Simone Wolf. Welcome. For most of last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness hosted Prime Minister Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago with hopes of deepening bilateral relations. Following the 4-day official visit, the leaders signed a joint communique outlining plans to strengthen political and bilateral cooperation. Among the matters discussed was the proper functioning of the CARICOM single market and economy, and the connecting issues of hassle-free travel, as well as the free movement of goods and services between the 2 countries.
As leaders, we agreed to work towards a better and more stable environment for businesses to thrive, to increase investment flows between our countries, and to develop mechanisms to facilitate closer trade cooperation and the resolution of trade issues.
Cooperation in security and intelligence sharing, energy, air and sea transportation, tourism, sports and the creative industries were also explored. And Prime Minister Holness accepted an invitation to visit Trinidad and Tobago at the earliest opportunity to continue the bilateral discussions.
It is important that the regulatory environment, the government-to-government relationship is strong. Once that is strong, and you have these close, very close fraternal links in culture, in sports, in education, in trade, in finance, then you can see the opportunities for economic growth for both our countries.
Prime Minister Holness also attended to other matters last week. On Wednesday, he hosted a delegation from the International Monetary Fund, headed by Deputy Director of the Western Hemisphere Department, Nigel Chalk. The Prime Minister said those talks were positive and fruitful, with the parties agreeing that government's focus on growth and job creation, poverty reduction and national security should be central to any future program with the IMF. Mr. Holness also used the opportunity to thank the IMF for its continued support of Jamaica. At a function on Tuesday, the Prime Minister shared government's plan to promote new businesses and markets for economic growth. That will include using foreign policy to seek out new markets and establish new relationships.
Because the truth is that the Jamaican market is limited. For our firms to truly grow, we have to treat CARICOM as our market as well. And to use CARICOM as a launching pad for Latin America. Not just North America. We also must now start to see China as a market for Jamaica. All we need is 1% of 1% of the Chinese market.
Mr. Holness was speaking at the Innovation Grant from New Ideas to Entrepreneur Ignite presentation put on by the Development Bank of Jamaica. 27 entrepreneurs are being given access to up to $4 million each to help implement innovative ideas and grow their firms. The projects all have the potential to generate over $1 billion in revenue and create more than 200 jobs. And finally, road safety was also a top priority for the Prime Minister this past week. On Wednesday, Mr. Holness released a video appealing to all road users to exercise caution on the nation's roads. He brought a similar message to the unveiling of Guardian Life's $60 million mobile medical unit on Thursday.
Drive with care. Drive with consideration for fellow road users. Jamaica needs you, your contribution and your productivity. Your life is in your hands on the roads.
And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for the major news coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Are you committed to Jamaica's growth and development? Would you like to work on high-impact projects in a fast-paced environment? Do you have a record of outstanding professional achievement and leadership skills? Then, welcome to the Jamaica House Fellowship and the most exciting 2 years of your life. Apply now at opm.gov.jm/Jamaica House Fellowship or call toll-free 1-888-429-5543. That is 1-888-429-5543. The Jamaica House Fellowship. Applications close August 2, 2016.
Last week, the Ministry of Tourism committed $1 billion over 4 years towards the fight against crime. Most of the funds will go towards intelligence gathering equipment and technology to keep track of criminals. Government is also receiving assistance from an unlikely source. Take a look.
I was like a rebellion against the system, but that never was the way, Virgin.
I was convicted and sent to prison. Spent 14 years on death row. Only see 5 minutes of sunlight each day for 14 years. I was taken to the gallows and was supposed to be hung Twice they build coffin for me and twice they dig hole. But God knows best.
Men who have made wrong choices in their past.
These are men who were either incarcerated or persons who were informal enforcers, as we say in Jamaica. These were persons who had no regard for law and order, who have actually, by whatever means possible, by whatever stimuli, have actually decided that they don't want that life anymore. They want to actually be positive role models in society.
Now they are sharing their experiences with the determination of reaching out to the youths and even their peers to not make the same mistakes they did. And by so doing, they are helping to restore and preserve the society's value system, thus securing the rock with their message.
Trenchtown youths, top up love, delete violence. Things take time to do if you take time to do it. Trenchtown youths, focus, take life serious.
We are trying to help them to realize that crime and violence is not something that is good. It's something that will destroy the society and the entire family. And once the family is destroyed, then the society will be destroyed.
Men with a Message is an initiative out of the Citizen Security and Justice Program, CSJP. The group, which consists of 10 men, was identified by CSJP's community action officers from among the program's many participants. Having received vocational and skills training, placed in jobs and managed to maintain clean police records for at least 2 years, the young men successfully navigated the interview process and were made ready for their mission. Armed with a different attitude, these men are now fighting against the same plague that once struck them: crime, violence, and lack of education.
To live a better life and to act in a better manner, education is the surest guarantee for a better life. You can't constantly do something when not giving you a good result. That's madness. That was how I define badness. So who I run down badness and madness. Because I was in it, so now listen keenly. So any man out there come for you, so me I go to the eye there, all them can get to know.
It is reported that young men between the ages of 15 and 25 are most vulnerable to criminal activities. So, as part of the CSJP's initiatives within volatile communities, Men with a Message have been going into youth clubs and schools through the Safe Schools program to deliver their message of transformation.
I definitely want these youngsters to understand that crime on our whole is not something that they should want to indulge in. We know we cannot totally eliminate crime and violence from the society, but at least we can help to minimize it to a tolerable level.
Principals have actually reported that after Men with a Message have come and spoken to the students, delinquent students have actually been the ones now to curb the other students. There have actually been cases where students have been collecting knives from other students as a result of Men with a Message coming and speaking to them.
It doesn't have to be that we have gunmen around and so on, but it has to be that they understand that when they become men themselves, they have to become men of standard, men of worth, men of value. And that is what our society needs. And so many of these boys lack seeing men who are role models in this way.
I would like to see from this program youth getting the benefit that I know is there, because I am also a recipient of the program.
The common good of the society of Jamaica, which should always be the new name of justice, cannot be achieved by means of violence, because violence destroys what we intend to create.
These may seem like just words, but not to these men. With the CSJP operating in 50 communities, the men are spreading their message that change is possible and that the cycle of violence and underachievement from the inner city can be broken. And they are also living testimonies that the CSJP's programs actually work.
Jamaica, join with us to secure the rock. Top up love, delete violence. Jamaica youths, blessed love.
I'm on the rock, I'm on the rock.
This is Romain Virgo. I'm here appeal to all of the youths them to just stay away from crime and violence. We know the temptation, the money, the fast life. People say them rate you. But that will only take you nowhere. If you stay in school and focus, then you can achieve anything. Be your own leader. A gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Over 200 since the start of the year. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
If you're still not moved by Prime Minister Holness's emphatic call for responsible use of our roads, this next story will surely move you to act.
Sunday, March 8, 2008. 4 years ago, 3 months, 8 days. I was walking along the sidewalk when from the back I was hit by a speeding motorist. The impact tossed me airborne for some 21 feet and the driver, still having not gained control of the car, ran over me. I was smashed into the asphalt and semi-conscious with a burst head, fractured skull, right broken apart shoulder, broken ribs, partially smashed off and broken left knee, doubly broken right knee smashed apart and broken, numerous wounds, lacerations, and my right leg, which was run over, laid there in a queer angle with large mince and segmented portions of exposed bone.
At the time of the crash, Falasha was only 21 years old, a first-degree, first-year university student. She held a full-time job and was very involved in numerous church, sports, and voluntary activities. And without notice, all that changed in an instant.
It took less than 10 seconds and one driver's misjudgment, one driver's decision to speed, one driver's choice to be reckless, one minute selfish act of dangerous driving, and in less than 10 seconds, most of my bones were broken. My whole being shattered, my body wrecked, my life radically marred and completely changed forever.
Falasha awoke to find herself in hospital, hooked to numerous machines, with tubes and needles invading her body. Her head, hands, and legs were screwed with nails and supported by metal poles. She was crippled by excruciating pain, and no amount of painkillers seemed to give any relief. It was at that point that she wished she had died. Since then, she has undergone 15 major surgeries to bring her body to a point of rehabilitation, including the amputation of her right leg.
For the last 4 years, instead of like my peers pursuing educational, social, and economic dreams and goals, I have had to fight and struggle to find recovery, where my dreams have been forcibly pushed on a ledge so far from my reach. Because of one driver's choice not to observe road safety, I'm unable to cross the streets or be around moving cars for any amount of time without being overwhelmed by the sense that I'm about to be hit down. I am afflicted with insomnia, panic, and anxiety attacks, and I'm daily haunted by graphic flashbacks of this accident in my waking hours, and in the little sleep I get, nightmares.
And the pain continues. One driver's choice to disobey road rules has cost Falasha the loss of family and friends who have found it difficult to come to terms with the sudden transformation of her life. And there's more.
I have lost relationships and suffered devastating heartbreaks because these guys could not and eventually refused to deal with or see beyond the destruction of my being, and thus walked away. After the accident, I had to drop out of university, and to date, I have not been able to resume.
If it had not been for one driver's choice to be reckless on our roads, Falasha would have graduated in July 2012. And instead of having a student loan debt, she has incurred hospital expenses of more than $5 million and growing, and has to find over $30,000 monthly for medication, crippling her personal savings and dashing her hopes of finding employment.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Theodore Henry. In today's Minute, we have important information on retail repurchase agreements, also known as retail repos. We will also speak on the requirements for retail repo investors. Retail repos are contracts between investors and licensed securities dealers. They involve the payment of a fixed return on investment at the end of a specified period of time. The investor, in turn, has ownership rights to assets held on their behalf by a trustee until the investment is repaid. If the investment is not repaid within the agreed time frame, then these assets remain the property of the investor. If you are currently invested in retail repos, there are two important requirements that you must comply with before August 2, 2016. The first, you must sign the Master Retail Repurchase Agreement, or MRRA, which can be obtained from your securities dealer. The signed MRRA serves as evidence of a retail repo investor's rights under a retail repo contract and protects his or her interest in the event that a securities dealer is unable to repay the invested amount or is guilty of misconduct. If you do not sign the MRRA, it may be difficult to secure your rights. Secondly, you must provide your securities dealer with a valid taxpayer registration number, TRN, or other government-issued identification number that the FSC finds acceptable. It is possible that securities dealers may end business relationships with investors who fail to sign the MRRA and submit a TRN or other approved identification number by August 2, 2016, given the requirements under the law. Is your retail repo account up to date? Visit or call your licensed securities dealer for more information. I'm Theodore Henry, and this was your FSC Minute.
And that's how we draw the curtains down on our magazine program. But only for today. The show returns round about the same time tomorrow. But if you can't wait, we maintain a very strong internet presence. There's our website, jis.gov.jm, as well as our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. We also have a mobile app that can be accessed on the Google Play Store. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson saying thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.